Do you remember a time when women weren't allowed to talk and only a certain type of folk was allowed to ride on the bus? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Sure is shooting, that's a fine biscuit. Let's start the show. So what have I been playing lately? I've been playing Electronic Superjoy. That's a very difficult platformer with a silhouetted graphics on every single goddamn screen. It's not that bad, but it is a very difficult platform. It's a lot of fun. I would highly recommend making purchase of it. It is very good. If you like platformers, you should enjoy this. Assuming you don't mind the difficulty level, which is pretty extreme. Also, there's a shoot 'em up section that I've run into thus far, which is great. It changes up the gameplay a bit. It's a lot of fun. The style is pretty strange. It's like this weird sort of post-apocalyptic disco. That's what I'm gonna go with. I'm still playing Volgar the Viking. I'm still sucking at Volgar the Viking. That's about all I have to say about Volgar the Viking at the moment. It's a really good game. It is difficult, and every mistake you make in that game is completely your fault. So I also tried some AVGN Adventures or whatever it's called, the Angry Video Game Nerd official video game. Yeah, pain in the ass. Game sucks balls, just like it's supposed to. They did their job. And then finally, yeah, still playing plenty of Final Fantasy XIV. Lots and lots and lots of Final Fantasy XIV. Still playing a lot of that. I was playing a tank. I was playing a Marauder. Well, the thing is, when I first started MMOs, I didn't know what a tank was. I didn't know that there were sort of specific roles that each class took on. I didn't understand how any of that worked. The first one I played was EverQuest Online Adventures for the PS2. A lot of people give that game crap because it's like, well, why don't you just go play EverQuest? Because I didn't have a good computer and it was available on the PS2, so I started playing it. I played it for quite a few years. It was a pretty good game overall, especially for the time. I mean, it was a decent MMO. So anyway, around level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there, when you start out in Kinos, the first thing you do is you get a group and you go to the Kinos prison after you've completed a few little quests, of course. You head on over to the Kinos prison to start leveling up and grinding in a group. And we got there and they said, okay, poll. We all just kind of sat there. This one guy was like, Luke, you need to poll. And I was like, what? It's polling? What? He's like, you're the tank. You need to pull. It's like, I'm the tank. He's like, yeah, you're going to be taking all the damage for the team, and I will be healing you. It's like, oh, well, what do these guys do? And it's like, well, then they just apply all the damage. You just need to use your taunt. It's like, oh, okay. How do I pull? So I just ran up there and taunted, and it grabbed like 3 guys, and we all died. Then I figured out how to body pull and all that, and it escalated from there. But that was it. That was the only tank I ever played up until Final Fantasy. I take my tanking very seriously because it's a huge responsibility. Most of the time, if everybody dies, it's probably your fault. I mean, it could be other things, you know. Sometimes the DDs just put on too much damage and you can't handle that much hate. Or the healer screws up or whatever. But a lot of the time, it's generally your fault. Because even if somebody else screws up, it's up to you to fix that screw up and maintain aggro. So anyway, I did that for a bit. I played a Marauder, and then I got kind of... I started thinking, well, if I have a decent fundamental understanding of how to hold hate, maybe I should just be playing a damage dealer, because I could help kind of smooth things over between the tank and the healer and everything, and kind of moderate that. So I've been playing a damage dealer, or a DPS. People like to call it DPS now. That's just ridiculous. It's a DD. That's what it's called. Silly kids and your World of Warcrafts. Still haven't played World of Warcraft, by the way. Anyway, you have two different kinds of tanks. You have the Marauder, which are kind of more for... They're better at holding hate, I think, and definitely better at holding multiple enemies. Whereas the Gladiator is probably better suited for a single target. Like, they would be great against a boss, I'm sure. Just one single boss target would be fine. But they seem to kind of... The thing is, I've only seen some bad Gladiators playing. But, like, if you pull multiple enemies, which you often will, sometimes they're just all linked. You know, you pull one, you're going to be pulling all three. Sometimes the other two have to get sleeped or slept. You have to cast sleep on the ones you're not attacking, because the Gladiator has trouble holding hate on multiple targets, which really sucks and is very inconvenient. The Marauder can just sit there and AoE hate hold everything, and it works out much better in my opinion. As a Marauder, I've also tanked bosses, and it worked out fine too. So I don't know. I feel like maybe the Gladiator needs a little bit of tweaking, but we'll see. And at the moment, I'm just playing a pugilist anyway. It's fun. I just run in there and punch. It's great. It's a lot less responsibility. I'm still having some trouble with the YouTube comments and the subscription module. They don't always work right, and sometimes a video gets posted and I don't see it for like a day, and then I scroll down and suddenly, oh, there it is, which really sucks. You would think that would be the number one thing. Okay, this is broken. We need to fix this immediately, because that's like the most important thing on YouTube, outside from, you know, actually allowing you to upload videos. But thankfully that is not broken. Fingers crossed. So apparently, and I tried this, I don't know if it's worked yet or not. So far it's been okay, but if you go to my subscriptions on the main page and select manage all my, 800 subscriptions or however many subscriptions you have, if you select manage all that, select all, and choose show uploads only, that supposedly can help out a bit. Aside from that, the comments thing is a little bit broken still, but most of the time I can reply to comments. Sometimes I still can't, but for the most part I can. It's just, I don't understand why YouTube goes and tries to add all these extra features when they can't even get the basic shit right. It's really irritating. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so Valve had their week of announcements. They first announced... All right, so Valve had their week of announcements. Their first announcement was the new operating system, Linux-based system, Steam OS, I think it's just called. Maybe they'll make a better name for it in the future. I'm not sure. Then they came out with Steam Machines, which is, of course, the hardware that you can theoretically plug into your television in the living room and play Steam games on it, which no doubt will, of course, run the Steam OS. And then finally, they just released the controller for it, which was like 2 days ago. And it looks weird. I'm not going to lie. It looks very strange. It really does. It's got some sort of, like, instead of dual sticks, it just has these, like, touchpad things. I don't know. It's very strange. It's also totally symmetrical, which is cool for people who are left-handed, right-handed. They can just, it doesn't matter. So that's a great idea. It looks like a very advanced piece of technology, so I'm scared to know how much it will cost. People are saying, they'd be surprised if it cost less than $100. Some people are saying, hey, maybe they'll come out and surprise us and it'll only be $80. Only $80 is a lot for a controller. I'm still stuck on expecting controllers to cost like $17, $18. No. PlayStation 1, pre-Dual Shock era. Anyway, it does look It looks frightening. I'm scared as to see how much it will cost. What they're trying to do with the controller is, at least I assume what they're trying to do with the controller, is make it easier for people who prefer the keyboard and mouse for certain games, like first-person shooters, to get into using their controller on your big screen television in the living room. Always about the living room. They keep talking about the living room. We're bringing Steam into the living room. The living room. The living room. So the other question is, who is this for? Are they trying to break into the console game market? Personally, for me, I'm fine with just sitting at my computer using my keyboard. I can rock the Xbox 360 controller when I need to. I don't see any real need for this thing. For me, at the moment. I don't know. We'll see. But the real question comes down to is, who is this for? Because I don't really know who this is for at the moment. I mean, it all looks really cool. And if the SteamOS is really, really awesome, who knows? Maybe I could just put another solid-state drive in and dual boot to that and play all my games on there, assuming it's actually supposed to be... in theory, it'll be optimized for gaming. So the first Need for Speed movie trailer has debuted. I will try to find it and link to it in the description. Or better yet, I'll link to this article because it's a little bit more informative. Yeah. Why does that exist? I didn't see it coming, and I don't care that it's out. I don't know. I'm just not sure why you would bother to make it. Seems like it would mostly just be like the Fast and the... The thing is, Need for Speed didn't really have much of a story to begin with. So... I don't know. It's so lacking in content. Although that could be a good thing for the movie because they can pretty much make up any story they want as long as it involves like cars and racing and gambling and police. Then you should be good to go, I guess. You know, you can insert any kind of story you want. Maybe so maybe okay. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's for the best. That there is no concrete story around the games. There could be some games out there that have some sort of story behind them. I'm not sure. I haven't played all the Need for Speeds. I've only played a few. But at the moment, it's just kind of weird. Like, why? Why? The lead in it is Aaron Paul, the kid from Breaking Bad. So that, I don't know. Because he looks like he could play a douche pretty well. So if they're looking for a douche... they just might have found their man. GTA 5 for the PC Petition has passed 500,000 signatures. It's not surprising, you know. All these people are like, "Oh, it's sold more. It's made more money than any." I want to play too. PC. It'll look good on my. It'll look good. Give me the game. Rockstar's track record for making PC titles is not very good. I've only played a couple of their PC ports, and they weren't very good. They weren't optimized at all. It's like they just kind of slap it together like a year after release and go, here you go. If they would actually take some time with it and try to make a good game, then things would be going much more smoothly, I'm sure. Anyway, at the moment, I'm really not interested in playing it. I could get it for my PS3, but that's the earlier gen console. If anything, I'm going to wait. If it comes out on PC, I might try it out. Hopefully the code is more optimized for PC and everything runs smoothly. Or just get it for the next gen console, because it's supposed to be this grand masterpiece. I don't want to play it on a earlier generation console with all those limitations. So I don't see any point in checking it out right now. Plus, I'm just not that big of a GTA fan. A list of LucasArts games that had been canceled when Disney made purchase and shut down the game division. A list of those games have been released. There isn't anything too interesting. There was like a cross-platform multiplayer game called Smuggler. There was another one called Outpost that was supposed to be like a Facebook Farmville kind of thing. I don't know. They're also going to come out with their own digital kind of download platform, LucasArts specific, like Ubisoft's Uplay or EA's Origin. They were going to come out with that. The way it stands, I am genuinely happy that they got shut down at this point, because it sounds like they were coming out with some real crap. What's sad and upsetting to me, however, is that I was kind of hoping for like an HD remake, not even a remake, just a HD PC, modern PC friendly re-release of all their space sims, TIE Fighter, X-Wing, X-Wing Alliance, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, all those. I would love to see those get re-released in HD on Steam. That would have been a wonderful thing. But now I'm thinking it's really not going to happen. I mean, because they have Monkey Island and all that crap on Steam. Why couldn't they have done the Star Wars space sims? I don't know. It would have been a wonderful time for me. I would have Let's Played the crap out of those. Also would have had to do a lot of editing, because you spend some time waiting. So, China, good old Chinese government, has lifted their 13-year console ban. Apparently, consoles were banned in China because they were infecting culture and ruining the youth and corrupting their great nation and giving them free-thinking ideas and all that. Can't have that. Can't let people think for themselves. All right. This hardly seems like news to me, because apparently they've been somewhat easy to get. You can just in independent free-range stores, if you will, were selling consoles anyway, and they weren't that difficult to get a hold of. So I don't see what the problem is. It may have been difficult to maybe do some multiplayer stuff. I know they do weird shit to the internet in China. I don't even want to think about it. I mean, if you're in China right now, you won't be watching this video because you can't watch YouTube in China, for example. Again, infecting the culture. Ugh. They actually have a Ministry of Culture. That's pretty bad. I mean, it doesn't sound that bad until you think about it and you realize they want to censor a lot. So, just, And then lastly, the CEO of Ford is apparently the top candidate to replace Steve Ballmer of Microsoft. All I have to say to that is, you're not going to get a bailout. No bailouts for you. All right, that's pretty much all I have this week. I thought I'd do a Q&A thing, quick question answer deal, because I still have a few subscriber questions. I don't like to use the word fan. It feels really presumptuous. So, subscriber question. He asked, what are your top 5 favorite films? I can't really answer that. I'll just give you a list of a few films that I watch a lot. I'm not going to go saying Citizen Kane or Godfather, all these really well-made, beautifully crafted cinematic pieces. Just movies that I watch a lot. And they're pretty much all comedies, like Airplane. I've seen Airplane I don't know how many times. It still holds up today. It is still hilarious. There are a few dated jokes in it, but for the most part, it holds up very, very well. It is the funniest movie, quite possibly the funniest movie ever made. Also, by the same people, the Jerry Zucker, David Zucker, and Jim Abrams. Shortly after Airplane came Top Secret, which I think was 84, 85, something like that. Also, a really, really, really funny movie. If you love comedy, you have to watch Airplane and Top Secret. Airplane 2 is also good, although it was not made by the Zucker-Abrams trio. It's still pretty damn funny. They kind of, I don't know, the director, the writer, whoever they got, they sort of took Airplane, the first Airplane, and just, they did a good job creating a sequel that sort of paid homage to the original. It's amazing how they did that. A lot of people hate it because, again, it wasn't made by the Zucker-Abrams trio, but it's incredibly good. I think it's very, very funny. Not as good as the first one, but very good. Also, William Shatner. William Shatner's in it. He's in command of the moon base. Moon base. Aside from that, movies that I watch a lot are lots of, well, I guess Shawshank Redemption would be number one, but the 3 Frank Darabont movies, the Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile. I guess I don't watch The Green Mile nearly as much because it's a lot more sad. And I hate having to keep reliving and becoming emotionally entangled with the characters, and then it gets really sad at the end. But very good movie, too. Both were written originally by Stephen King, too, I do believe. Also strange. And then The Majestic. A lot of people give The Majestic crap, but The Majestic is a great movie. I don't see why people hate it so much. I don't know. I thought Jim Carrey did fine. He didn't do an amazing job, but he did perfectly fine. It's a good movie. Those are some movies for you to watch in the future, especially Airplane. Especially if you're young and you've never heard of it. Go watch Airplane. It's great. It will inspire you to be funnier. Maybe. A little bit. I'll see you guys next time. I'm going to go watch football.